Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like they told you more than words ever could? Have you ever wondered if a single glance could be more dangerous, more intoxicating, more permanent than 1,000 kisses? That's how it began for me. Not with words. Not even with a touch. It began with her eyes. It was a rainy evening in the city, the kind of night when streetlights blur into golden streaks on wet asphalt and people hurry past each other without looking up. I slipped into the café like I always did, half for the warmth, half to escape my own thoughts. My notebook was tucked under my arm, my pen waiting for words I never seemed brave enough to write. The café was almost empty. A soft jazz tune curled through the air, and the dim lamps above the wooden tables gave the place a golden hush. I ordered my usual, sat by the corner, and opened my notebook. That's when I saw her. She was sitting by the window, her chin tilted toward the rain as if it were telling her secrets no one else could hear. Her hair was chestnut dark, falling carelessly around her shoulders. A pale scarf rested against the black sweater she wore, and steam curled upward from the cup she held between her hands. She wasn't reading, she wasn't typing, she wasn't even on her phone.
She was just there.
Completely present. And then, as though the universe wanted to rearrange everything I thought I knew about desire, she looked at me. Our eyes met across the room. I froze. Her eyes were green with flecks of gold, catching the lamplight in a way that made them look alive. They didn't just look at me, they saw me, stripped me bare, unraveled every wall I'd spent years carefully building. I tried to look away. I couldn't. She blinked, as if she too had been caught, and for a moment her lips parted like she might say something. But she didn't. She looked down at her coffee, then back at me. A rhythm began, a dangerous dance of stolen glances and sudden retreats. And that's when I felt it, the question rising in me like fire. What do you do when her eyes confess what her lips refuse to say? Do you wait? Or do you surrender? Minutes passed. My coffee went untouched. My notebook stayed empty. All I could think of was her. This stranger whose eyes spoke a language only I seemed to understand. Finally, courage, or maybe recklessness, pushed me forward. I stood, heart racing, and crossed the space between us. My voice was steadier than I felt when I asked, "Is this seat taken?" She hesitated, then shook her head. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, small and shy, but her eyes were bold. I sat. Up close, she was even more devastating. The dim cafe light brushed across her cheekbones, made her lips shine softly, made every blink of those eyes feel like a secret message. "I'm Sophia," I said, because silence was impossible with her so close. "Emma," she replied, her voice low, careful, like a note played on a violin string. And then came silence again. But not empty silence, thick silence. The kind that hums in the chest, the kind you feel more than hear. Her hand brushed the side of her cup, fingers trembling just slightly, betraying nerves she tried to hide. "Do you always stare at strangers in cafes?" I asked, teasing, because I needed to breathe, needed to break the intensity of her gaze before it consumed me whole. Her lips curved again, but this time her eyes flashed. "Only the ones who stare back," she whispered. And just like that, I was undone. The night stretched around us. Outside, the rain softened to a drizzle, but inside, time stopped. We talked, though I don't remember half the words. What I remember is the way she leaned in when I spoke, the way her eyes searched mine like they were hungry, desperate to understand, desperate to be understood. Every laugh, every pause, every accidental brush of her hand against mine sent sparks racing through me. But still, her lips didn't say what her eyes screamed. And oh, how they screamed.
When she looked at me, it was longing.
When she looked away, it was fear. When she looked back, it was surrender. I couldn't take it anymore. "Emma," I said softly, "your eyes are telling me something. And I don't know if I'm brave enough to believe it." Her breath caught. She looked down, then up again. And there it was, raw, unfiltered desire, painted across her gaze. My heart thundered. My pulse roared. And before I could think of reasons why I shouldn't, I leaned closer. She didn't move away. Her eyes fluttered closed, and then opened again. Meeting mine with such intensity, one felt my soul shake. I didn't need permission. I already had it. Her lips finally met mine. And it wasn't just a kiss. It was a confession. It was a surrender. It was every word she couldn't say spilling out in the press of her mouth against mine. Her hands trembled as they found my face, holding me like she was afraid I'd disappear. My fingers tangled in her hair, pulling her closer, because closeness was the only thing that made sense anymore. The cafe around us melted away. The world outside ceased to exist. It was just us, her lips, my lips, and the undeniable truth written in her eyes. That night didn't end in the cafe. We walked out together, shoulders brushing, hearts still racing. The rain had stopped, but the streets glistened under lamplight, mirroring the fire we carried between us. At her apartment, the silence returned, but now it was charged, electric, begging to be broken. She turned to me, lips parted, eyes wide. And though she still didn't speak, I didn't need her to. Her eyes said it all. I stepped closer. She stepped back only enough to let me in. And when I wrapped my arms around her, she melted into me, her head against my shoulder, her breath hot against my neck. That night, we didn't need words. Every touch was a confession. Every sigh was a declaration. Every look was a vow. She didn't tell me she wanted me. She didn't tell me she needed me. She didn't tell me she loved me. Her eyes did. And I believed them. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And every time we were together, it was the same. Her lips would hesitate, her voice would falter, but her eyes never lied. They told me when she was jealous. They told me when she was afraid. They told me when she was happy, safe, completely mine. And every night, when she looked at me across her pillow, those eyes whispered the same truth again and again. You are my everything. Love doesn't always arrive in words. Sometimes it comes in a glance across a cafe. Sometimes it burns in silence. Sometimes her eyes say what her lips can't. And when that happens, you don't need to hear it. Because you already feel it. Because you already know.